So the parallels between space applications and medical industries is fundamentally in the lack of tolerance for risk of failure. To do that, both groups of engineers and implementers must comprehensively understand how their systems work so that their failure modes can be understood and mitigated in design and checked for in manufacturing and field implementation.
FDA has really embraced the idea of AI, not only in products, but in process. I think folks know that here recently, in the last month or two, FDA did a pilot program to use AI tools to help conduct a scientific review of a drug application. And they found that to be safe and effective, if you will. And I think that's a really important step for FDA.
A lot of companies are hesitant to share too much or feel some adversarial relationship with regulators or notified bodies. And all of these people who have decades of experience working with regulators emphasize that that's not the right strategy, that communicating frequently, openly is the right way to work with regulators.
In building a successful CRO-sponsor relationship, it's all about communication. It's all about building that relationship. And I use the analogy that it's like dating, right? You don't make multi-million-dollar decisions after one date. It can take months of cultivating that relationship before either party's ready to take it to the next level.
I don't see innovation being stifled in the face of stricter regulations. What can negatively impact innovations is the uncertainty around the interpretation of these regulations by the regulatory agencies here in the US and the notified bodies in the EU. Uncertainty in terms of interpretation is one thing, and then uncertainty in terms of timeframes is another. In the EU, the timeframes have considerably lengthened. But we also know that notified bodies are working hard, adding resources. They're working really hard to become more and more responsive. So I think we will reach steady state. We'll never be at a time that the EU was 10 years ago, right? Even the FDA has moved on. Change is the only constant, even for regulations. But we're at a point where we need some consistency as far as interpretations and timelines are concerned. Other than that, I think regulations are only going to get tougher, especially with the advent of AI.
AI is exciting, it's terrifying, it's a lot of things. The way I see it in the role of clinical trials, the natural fit for AI is focused on process. It's a tool to help the sponsor, the clinician, design the protocol, monitor the study, collect the data, and then report it out. Each one of those has many different facets of how AI can improve and enhance and make that process more efficient.
We had a lot of expertise on that panel, especially with artificial intelligence. And one of the questions that we discussed is where are the opportunities here? And I think that we all landed on reducing cost, increasing health equity, expanding access to medical technology in general.
We heard a lot of examples of how massive amounts of data that are created by clinical trials and through follow-up data collection, real-world evidence, can be efficiently processed using AI. So that's a great example of where AI can shine. Applications like natural language processing, data analysis to tease those tidbits, those interesting use cases, those trends, those collections of data that it might be hard for a human to recognize, but that are really valuable.